right, remember this, order matters with division. Order matters. Okay, so 12 divided by 2, we know that is 6. 2 divided by 12 is not 6. 2 divided by 12, or I write it as a fraction, becomes 1/6, right? They're kind of like opposites or inverses of each other, but they're not the same, okay? They're not the same, like 12 divided by 2, no, I'm sorry, 12 times 2 and 2 times 12, they both equal 24, but not the same with division or subtraction as well. So have that in mind. All right, here are the steps to divide signed fractions. As always, our first step is determine if the sign is positive or negative. Okay, so let's do that right now with our question. Is the answer going to be positive or negative? All right, I have a negative 12/13 and a negative 4/5. A negative divided by a negative, my answer is going to be a positive. So let's put a plus sign there so we know it's going to be positive. Okay, that's step one. Step two, ignore the signs and divide as usual. Remember, keep, change, flip. Remember that last video. So keep the first fraction the same. Keep, change it to multiplication, change, and then flip the second fraction. 4/5 becomes 5/4. And then just multiply it now. So 12 times 5 is 60. And then 13 times 4 is 52. All right, step three, simplify. This means putting it in lowest terms and write it as a mixed number if you see a big head. I do see a big head, so we need to change that. So first thing, let's put it in lowest terms because then that will help us put it into a mixed number. I think a little bit easier. Okay, so I know they're both even numbers, so I'm going to divide both of these by 2. Okay, so I get 30 over 26. Can I divide again? So I'm going to continue dividing by 2 until I get my answer. Now, if you divided by 4, you would have gone straight to the answer, but that's okay. So here's my not simplified, I guess it's in lowest terms. This is lowest terms. To fully simplify it, we've got to change this to a mixed number. 13 can go into 15 one time. Okay, and then what would be left over? Well, if I subtract 13 from 15, I'll have 2 as my remainder, and I keep the original denominator. All right. So it's just like multiplying with fractions. The only thing we need to do really is do the keep, change, flip part. All right, let's try one more. Negative 90 hundredths divided by 3/25. First thing I'm gonna ask you guys, is your answer gonna be positive or negative? What is the sign? If you said negative, you are correct. We have one negative and we have a positive. So a positive divided by a negative equals a negative. Or the other way, right? You could do a negative divided by a positive, negative as well. But we have one of each. So I know my answer is negative. So let's do a keep, change, and flip. Okay, but before we do that, I'm going to make our lives a little bit easier, okay? 90 over 100. We can simplify that right now. If I divide both of them by 10, I make my life a little bit easier. 90 over 100 is the same thing as 9/10. These are the same thing, right? And actually, it's a zero trick. They both have a 0 on it, right? I'm going to cross out 1 0 on the top, 1 0 on the bottom. So now I'm left with 9/10. Okay, so I kept it the same. Just looks a little different. I simplified it. Keep, change, flip. KCF. Okay, flip the second one. 25 over 3 now. We can't simplify that, but if we could, I would. Right, so now instead of doing 90, right, we had 90 times 25, it's just 9 times 25, which makes life a little bit easier, okay? 9 times 25, That gives me 225, and then I get over 30. Okay, I do see a big head. We're definitely going to have to change that. Maybe we can simplify this a little bit though. Okay, so let's put it in lowest terms. It ends in a 5 and this one ends in a 0. 5 and 0. Oh, I know they can both be divided by 5 then. Okay, I can divide both of them by 5. So 225 divided by 5 is 45. 30 divided by 5 is 6. Now, did I do the greatest common factor? Well, let's ask ourselves, can I divide 45 and 6 by another number? I know 2 doesn't go into 45. What about 3? 3 goes into 6 and 3 goes into 45. So I can divide both of these by 3 as well. 45 divided by 3 is 15. 6 divided by 3 is 2. I am in my lowest terms. Let's change it to a mixed number. What is 15 divided by 2? How many times can 2 go into 15? Count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Oh, 16 is too big. I can take 14 out. That means that's 7 sets of 2. 7 sets of 2 is 14. I will have 1 as a remainder. So how do we write this? 15 over 2, or 15 halves, is the same thing as 7 and 1. That's our remainder, right? Remainder, 1 half. All right. Now, before we go to, I want to show you guys what we can do instead of dealing with all these big numbers. So notice one thing is simplifying in the beginning, but we can also cross simplify when we came to this point. Okay, so I know I can change 9 and 3. Okay, 9 and 3. If I simplified it, I'll simplify it over here. 9/3. Okay, that's the same thing. I can divide both of these by 3. Okay, 9/3. So I get 3 over 1. 3 over 1. So 9 can change to a 3, and the 3 can change to a 1 because I divided both of them by 3. I could also do the same thing with 25 and 10. Okay, 25 over 10, if I simplified that, I divide both of them by 5, I'll get 5 over 2. So the 25 becomes a 5, the 10 becomes a 2, and that just makes my life a little bit easier. I'm not dealing with this big number. I have 3 times 5, which is 15, 2 times 1, which is 2, and now I have the same thing, 15 over 2. Now I've got to change it to 7.5, right? But I skipped to that step right there, so I didn't have to do any of this stuff. Well, I did do that. I did do this. I just did it in the beginning. All right, so sometimes cross simplifying or cross canceling